Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another edition of Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And that done is the creation of a brand new book by January 1st, 2021. Yep. Actually, the night before, on December 31st, 2020, I'm going to be uploading press-ready files to Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform, where I will be self-publishing a brand new book. Now, what's that book called? Well, you already saw the cover of it right there. It's called NONFICTION BRAND, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And that's what me coming down here and working on this every night is all about. 301 consecutive live streams of me in real time, in real life, writing the book. Some nights I'm going to be editing, some nights I'm going to be writing, some nights I'm going to be designing or maybe doing some mind mapping, outlining, stuff like that. Every night's a little bit different, but it's all about progressing the book forward one way or another so that I can reach that January 1st, 2021 deadline. Cool. So the big question tonight is, what am I going to be doing? Well, I'm actually working on a section that is related to the podcast that was released earlier today, the Nonfiction Brand podcast episode with Justin Baker of Fuzz Social, based in Los Angeles, California. And in it, during that interview, we were talking about some of his customers, his clients, who work as voiceover artists and in the animation space out in Los Angeles and globally. Some of the voices that you hear on your favorite animated cartoons are actually people he represents and actually facilitates their personal brand building on social media. Pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Anyway, I was just listening to the interview I did with him on the podcast, so I'm going to actually transcribe some of the stuff we talked about. So it's going to be an incredibly boring episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast tonight, or of Bookward Bound tonight, but it's a necessary evil part of Bookward Bound because I got to get this stuff transcribed right here. So I'll be bopping back and forth between Scrivener, which you see right here, and over here in Audacity, where I recorded Justin Baker and have created the podcast. So let's listen right where I left off. You know, if they're in an interview, I think that's where I left off.
You know, if they're in an interview, for instance,
He said L.
You know, if they're in an interview, for instance, let's say that they're being interviewed by AD Club, like you brought up.
Let's say they're being interviewed by AV Club, like you brought up, comma.
So I know ahead of time, there are certain things we can say and you know, if they're in an interview, for instance, let's say that they're being interviewed by AD Club, like you brought up, there are certain things we can say and certain things we can't say.
There are certain things we can say and certain things we can't. Period.
The social team at Nicola, AD Club, like you brought up, there are certain things we can say and certain things we can't say.
There's certain things we can't say.
So I know ahead of time.
So I know ahead of time.
So So I know ahead of time because I've been alerted by the social team at Nickelodeon.
Because I've been alerted by the social team at Nickelodeon.
What we can say and what we can't, and I always check ahead of time.
What we can say and what we can't. Period. And I always check ahead of time.
And so I'll tell Carlos, I say, hey, you can say this, but you can't say that, just a reminder.
So I'll tell Carlos, Aliz, Rocky, I'll have to spell it up, Rocky, I'll have to look up the spelling. You can say this, but not that. And that's not exactly right, so let's go back and listen.
And so I'll tell Carlos, I say, hey, you can say this.
And so I'll tell Carlos. You can say this.
I say, hey, you can say this, but you can't say that, just a reminder.
But you can't. This, but you can't say that. Just a reminder.
Reminder. So that way he's aware and I'm on that all the time. So my job.
So that he's aware and I'm on that all the time. Let's listen back.
Can't say that, just a reminder. So that way he's aware.
So that way, comma, he's aware.
You can't say that, just a reminder. So that way he's aware and I'm on that all the time. So my job.
All the time. Period. So my job.
That, just a reminder. So that way he's aware and I'm on that all the time. So my job is in the background being on top of characterization.
My job is in the background being on top of characterization.
On that all the time. So my job is in the background being on top of characterization, what release dates there are, what we can say, what we can't say.
What release dates are, what we can say, what we can't say.
There are, what we can say, what we can't say, and also what are the things that we want to put out there.
And also, what are the things that we want to put out there?
Put out there. So I'm constantly getting emails and phone calls from Disney.
So I'm constantly getting emails and phone calls from Disney.
So I'm constantly getting emails and phone calls from Disney,
DreamWorks,
Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network.
Nickelodeon Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network from their team because they know that I help to manage.
From their team because they know I help to manage.
My voice actors.
My voice actors. I think that's about all I want, but I might go a little further. Let's see.
My voice actors, and they're the ones that are saying, hey, could you...
And they're the ones saying, hey, could you...
My voice actors, and they're the ones that are saying, hey, could you put this on the social calendar?
Put this on the social calendar.
Put this on the social calendar for these people or let them know.
For these people or let them know.
These people or let them know. We want to kind of make sure we have this information, the date, the time.
Oh, we want to make sure they have this information, the date, the time.
No, we want to kind of make sure we have this information, the date, the time, and then you can put it in your own voice. And so we help my actors craft.
And you can put it in your own voice. So we. He did say we, right?
And then you can put it in your own voice. And so we help my actors.
And so we help my actors.
And then you can put it in your own voice. And so we help my actors craft this announcement that...
Craft this announcement that
put it in your own voice. And so we help my actors craft this announcement that's personalized for them.
That's personalized for them.
Containing the for them, but also containing the important information. So,
but also containing the important information. Quote. I'll go. Justin, get rid of the